Hi, this is Keri and welcome to my first video tutorial for BoBunny. Today we're going to be working with double dot cardstock, one of my favorite things that BoBunny offers. So classic. I love this light texture that it has, the interest with the dot tone on tone, and then the other side has different patterns or kind of a whitewashed basic color, distressed color. So many different fun things that you can do with these. Today we're going to start with a Father's Day bowl gift to put Dad's favorite treats in. So I'm going to go with the black double dot and some ribbon to make a wet paper technique where you wet the paper after you've cut it into the shape, mold it onto something, and then after it dries, it keeps that curved shape really well, sturdy enough to make a bowl, a vase. I've even done little mini embellishments and filled them with glitter or glossy accents, things like that. There's a lot of fun things you can do with it. So we're going to start by cutting out a circle as big as you want. You could go all the way to the edges. I'm going to use this colander because it's what I had on hand. And we're going to cut that out. So draw your circle around, trace that out, and then we're going to cut this out, get the cardstock wet, and mold it. After you've cut out your circle, just get it wet in the sink. Don't be afraid to get it too wet. It's kind of scary at first getting cardstock wet and worrying that it's going to start ripping and tearing, but just get it wet on both sides all the way. Make sure there's no dry spots. And then you can let it drip dry and then take a paper towel and just pat off the excess. Then let it sit for about 60 seconds. You don't want it to get too dry, but you want it to dry up a little bit so that you lessen the chance that it's going to tear when you mold it on your base. After you've patted it off and let it sit for about 60 seconds, take a base to mold it with. You can take a bowl, you can take any shape that you want. You can use a square base and do a folding technique on the sides, wrapping it like a gift if you want to make a square vase. Or you can use, what I'm going to use a random light fixture globe that I have, or a gazing ball, something like that. We're renovating our house, and so that is what I have on hand right now. So after the paper is nice and wet, you want to just crumple it up gently. Spread it back out. And if you need more water at that point, don't be afraid to add some. You're going to start molding it on the bowl. As you mold it, you're wanting to center it in the middle. You can either just crumple to hold it in place, or you can do something making pleats or folds around, depending on what kind of a style you want. So if you pleat it all the way around, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just taking up that excess around the base so that it's going to have that curved bowl shape. So make some pleats, being careful not to rip the paper. Until it fits the shape of the bowl or whatever you're using to mold it. A couple more pleats. This is a fun project to have the kids help with, especially since this one is a Father's Day gift. Make the pleats until you're satisfied kind of with the general shape of it, and then you can either put another bowl on top of it to keep it steady, to keep it wrapped, and wait for it to dry, probably overnight. So once the bowl is all dry, you can leave it as is. We did some Easter ones like that the kids filled with paper mache eggs, or you can trim it out with ribbon like I'm going to do here with the dot ribbon to coordinate with a double dot cardstock. So I'm going to use glue, hot glue. You can use double-sided tape or whatever works best for you to just trim this out and you've got a fun little container that you handmade maybe with the kids for Father's Day. After you trim this all out, I'm going to go ahead and finish it up, and then I'll come back and show you the finished product. The second technique I'm going to show you with the double dot and the wet cardstock molding technique is something that I've done before also, making little embellishments for a scrapbook page that you can fill with glitter or little brads, little trinkets. And so it's going to turn out to be quite small size of a button. You can do any size that you want, but these ones I'm going to make little bitty ones to go with the new Enchanted Garden fairy fun collection that BoBunny has. So use a circle punch, you can use a medallion punch, a decorative edge punch in a circular shape, and then cut out some of those. And then the same thing as before, you're going to get these wet. Once you've gotten them wet, you're going to take the paper and mold it around the button, making sure the edges come over the top until you kind of get it into the shape that you want. Using the wet cardstock enables you to get a really nice circular shape rather than having rough pointed edges that you will get if you try to do it with dry cardstock. So I'm going to cover all the buttons like this, let them dry, and we'll come back at that point. Okay, once you've let the little embellishments dry all the way, you can just pry the buttons out, and it will stay nice and rigid in this cute little shape that's a shadow box, kind of a little trinket holder that you can fill with anything you like. You can just simply put a sparkle brad or something in the center and use it that way. You can put in embossing powder, you could put in glitter glue, a lot of different options. What I'm going to do is, using some glitter, some sequins, and some fun little micro beads and things like that, fill up the little container, and then once I've got it full of the little items that I want to put in there, I'm just going to fill it up with glossy accents or some sort of clear dimensional medium that will dry to a hard finish. So you fill it all the way up. You won't be able to see yet until it dries clear, and then you'll be able to look in and see all the little different things. So I'm just going to continue to do the rest of these, and then when I'm done I'll have all these cute little customized embellishments. It's just a fun moldable paper project that you can add to off the page decor, you can add to cards, you can add to any sort of craft project, and I'll come back and show you how I added them to a layout. Okay, and here's the completed project. I let the kids help me hot glue the trim around the edges. Then we added a doily liner and some of Dad's favorite treats and a cute little quick note card to go with it. This was a really fun together hands-on craft project to make as a gift, and there's just so many fun and easy ways that you can use this idea of the wet cardstock, molding it around something and letting it dry, and it will hold that rigid shape when it's done. So hopefully that gives you some fun ideas of some new ways that you can use your double dot BoBunny cardstock. And I'm going to end off with a few photos of this project, as well as the layout that I created using the custom embellishments that I made with the double dot cardstock, to hopefully give you a few fun ideas of how you could use your double dot BoBunny cardstock in some new ways. Thanks so much for joining me.